the debut episode of Christine Balfa Podcast, Christine sits down with her older sister, Nelda Balfa, for a heartwarming, music-filled conversation about growing up in South Louisiana and carrying on their father's legacy.
Hi, I'm Christine Balfa, and welcome to Christine Balfa Podcast. Our first episode, I really am honored and happy to have my sister Nelda here with me to talk, and just to give you all a little bit of history about why we want to do this podcast.
Wow, T, that sounds great. And I'm looking forward to it. Somehow, sometimes when we're together and we talk, things come out that we hadn't even really put together, and then they just come out.
Yep. So one of the reasons I wanted to have you be on this podcast and kind of be my interviewer is that you know me from a particular way that nobody else, I think, understands me.
Right.
And so, I just wanted to talk with you about all that.
Okay, that sounds great. And, well, I could go on about you, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? There's so much there. There's so much history. There's so much, as with all, most folks. But I think probably an age difference of 19 years would have probably not normally ended up in the kind of relationship that we've had all these years, because it was such a great age gap. And, I hear a lot of people who, they're, my brother or my sister, they're all 15 years ahead of me, and we don't really know each other that well. But perhaps because of the situation, the way things were then, we were able to craft this incredible friendship as well. Do you feel like that too?
Definitely. Definitely. And I think because one of the things, I think we have a lot of similarities in our personality and our interests of both being so attracted to Daddy's work and the music. And so even besides that, that's the obvious thing that, most people would see, but there's so many other things that our relationship, is founded on.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely a gift to have such like all of our sisters, we all have an incredible this strength of which was evident yesterday when we were all together. Now Roberta couldn't come, but that we were all together. It's so weird. I'm just thinking about this. I don't know if this is part, but I'm going to say it anyway. There after Mama died, some people came in. I don't know, just like it seemed like just right after she died, and they did an interview with Dad. And I think somewhere I have that interview. And it was strange because all I could do was talk about Mom. And I thought, when I heard the interview afterwards, and I was like, oh my God, all I did was talk about Mom and how, and I thought I left out all the great things Dad did because it was so raw.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is my way of honoring Dad through you, too, in this interview, because now I get a chance to say those things that we sometimes go to our grave not saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for that. Because, really, I don't know why we don't say that to each other.
Well, I'd like to talk about us growing up in the household, in our home. Even though it was the same home, we had different experiences.
Right.
You you were so interested in the music as well, so much so that you went with Daddy and the uncles to the Newport Folk Festival in 1967. You were how old at that age?
I was 17.
17. And what were your thoughts whenever you were going to do that? Did you talk to your friends about that?
Not very much. Not very much. They did put a little article in the newspaper, and there was a picture of Dad and I in the Basil Weekly. I'm sure we probably could find that. But no, not really too much. And I had just graduated from high school, and I was like in my third week of beauty school, and I left to go to it. And I remember Mama said, do not do anything to your hair. Like don't bleach it because, bleach people, no good. So anyway, so they frosted my hair, okay? And anyway, so I had to go back, and I had it was like jet black by the time we got to Newport. But anyway, so when we went, it was a caravan. I want you to imagine Daddy driving one, Mr. Hadley driving another, and
y'all all drove out
Will,
there.
yeah, and Nunk Will, and you have had another car, so 3 cars. And so they would have to like map out where they were going to be, where they were going to go, because if somebody got lost or whatever, they would have a destination. So they studied the map, and Dad probably was the only one that had been out, in that kind of a situation. And so we're going through New York. We're on the Turnpike. No, we're on the New Jersey Turnpike. I don't know how many lanes go in one direction, right? Okay, all of a sudden, there's a crash in the lane right next to us, and we just drive by, which is so foreign to us, because if anybody would have gotten in that, you would have stopped. But there was no way to stop, and you thought, oh, where's the humanity here? I mean, it's like crazy. But no, Rod said, get me a paper bag and let me put it over my head so we can get over this. Because he said, it's crazy. Yeah.
It stressed him out to see all that.
And he said, he smoked, and all he would do is smoke as we were going. And he says, oh, Lord, I'm going to look like a piece of tasso by the time I get over there. Anyway, I love my Uncle Rodney. Oh, God. Anyway, so...
and we're so tasso.
Oh, yeah. So here we are, going, I mean, just green as can be, going to the Newport Folk Festival. And, of course, it was in Newport. And, oh, God, what a beautiful city, rolling, the big houses, 3-story houses. Almost had a heart attack. And I think that part of that was part of my love of design and checking out houses. I've looked at every house in Breaux Bridge to buy. But anyway, so it was all new. A big tent where you'd go eat. We were sitting in the tent, and in walks Arlo Guthrie with this long, tall, blonde, miniskirt, boots to the hips person. And they just walked by us like, we were like, oh, stuff like that. Muddy Waters. Y'all probably don't know who Theodore Bacall is, but he's an actor. And we were like, oh. Buffy St. Marie, Joan Baez, who was the Chambers Brothers, Staples Singers. I mean, and a lot of them, Odetta. A lot of them we weren't real familiar with that. I wasn't into a lot of that kind of music, but you knew who they were. Anyway, so it was fabulous. I'm going on.
No, but that was such a powerful thing, and so when you got back home, I'm curious about how that changed you, looking at what Daddy and Uncle the uncles were doing? Like, did you see it in a different way?
Well,
Did it change
at
anything?
17, we did notice that we had a lot more company at home. Jean-Marc came. I mean, there was this beginning, this flow of people in and out of the house, and but on a regular basis, I think. Oh God, I hope this sounds okay. There were very few women musicians in the Cajun community. So it was the Balfa Brothers. Okay. So it's not like they excluded, and it's not like, well, I didn't ask, you know. I mean, I played when we went like that. And at home, Daddy and I would, you know, that terrible guitar of Joe's. He bought Joe a guitar, but I played it. We had an old piano that we would play together, find some chords and stuff like that. We sat at the stereo, that old Curtis Mathes stereo, and if he liked the beginning of a song, he couldn't find it on the album, so I would have to start it over. Start it over there. Now, start it over, and so he'd have to hear it, or the end of a song or something. And he wanted it to be just right. You know, he had that thing in his head. So it didn't really affect me.
Did you just want to build on what you're talking about, like the Balfa Brothers, you being a woman, and then Daddy, Joe being, how much younger was Joe than you?
6 years.
6 years younger than you. You had an obvious interest in the music, but he bought Joe a guitar.
Sure.
Did he buy you a guitar?
No. Did I ask for a guitar? No. I don't know if Joe asked for a guitar. Okay. I mean, it's just, like we are looking at this history of that, and I think sometimes that's missed too, of this. And if you're not there, and you judge it from here, it looks kind of, massage, or whatever they want to call it. But it wasn't actually. I mean, I never really wanted to, go and play. I couldn't go to a bar. That's where they played. I couldn't go to a big dance or nothing to play with them.
And why couldn't you go?
Well, I was a girl. And you didn't want to be in that situation. My mother would have never let me. However, Tony was 8 and was in that environment. That's how it was. And you accepted it and you went on. To fight that, well, I wouldn't even wanted to fight that. It's just the way it was. Yeah.
And so I'm just thinking, like, for me, when I grew up in the same household, different things had started. There were festivals that were more family friendly that you could. Restaurants. They started having restaurants. And so it wasn't just these old dogs.
The Bearcat Lounge.
Right. It wasn't just the Bearcat Lounge. So so I just think about that with you because I see so much, you have so much talent and so much that I feel like you didn't get to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wonder how much of that is like timing.
Oh, I think definitely it was not the time. And and with that, I had my little time with Balfa Toujours. I had my little time to write. I had my little time to go out on the road and realize I had 4 kids and I had to go home. And that, so for me, I see you, it makes you sad, but for me, it's not that. It's not that. I find that I'm lucky because I did, at that age, get to write those songs.
Yeah.
In spite of being like, well, you couldn't go to the bar, you couldn't do all those things, And I got to play a little bit with Dad. We went to France together. I mean, there was so much there that was in a little capsule that, yeah. It was great. And I don't have too much like regret or anything for great kids. There's so much. I've been given so much up and down of the ladder of that. I got to go to France with my dad and my sister. Come on. We got to go to London. Me and you and Norma.
I know.
And I laugh. I tell my kids, I said, you see this spoon right here in that skillet? That went to London with me and A.T. because I was too afraid those English people wouldn't have the right kind of pot. Speaking of pot. And the right kind of spoon to do it.
Right.
So, anyway. And I think, T, you remember how much fun we had doing that cooking demonstration and that thing? Remember I said, we should have a cooking show. How much fun was that?
Yes.
Oh, my God. We have fun.
Yes. We've had many good times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I kind of want to dig a little deeper into the woman versus man. I don't know, just even though you maybe don't feel like that too much, because for me, whenever that was a thing. Like there weren't any women playing Cajun music whenever I was a young girl, and so even though I was so attracted to it and wanted to be a part of it, I wasn't sure where my place was.
You didn't know how to not manipulate, but how to incorporate or to jump in. Well, you found a way.
Yeah.
You sure found a way. That's what makes the story, to me, of you even more of a testimony to you and to your strength. That didn't stop you. It didn't stop you. So, I don't know. I see you not as a victor, but as here we are. Here we are. I did it. And I had to work hard for it. But isn't that what got you where you are? Is the hard work and that need and that push and that drive that you had. And you wanted, I got something to say and I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to draw it. I'm going to write it. I'm going to do it. And you did it. You did it. You're doing it. It's just just makes me so happy. It really does. It really does. And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Can I call it grot? No, cut that. Edit that.
So we were five in the family. So you want to talk about
sure?
Nelda and I she's the firstborn, and I was the baby,
and she's the caboose. But there's me, Nelda Ann. We went by the grave of the little girl yesterday of the little girl I was named after. My mother had her best friend drowned when she was young, and she said, if I ever have a little girl, I'm going to name her Nelda Ann. So Nelda Ann Young is up on the thing. Okay, and Roberta Marie, I think Roberta might have been one of Downey's old girlfriends, but I'm not sure about that. Let's not put, Roberta Marie, she's 2 years younger than me. Norma Lynn, little Norma Lynn. She is 6 years younger than me, 4 years younger than Berta. Then comes Dewey Joseph. We called him Joe. I have a grandson named after him, Dewey Joe. So we call him a lot Dewey Joe. But Joe was 12 years younger than me. I was his nanny. We had that. You had to be a certain age to be a godmother, but we knew the priest. So anyway, I was his going to be his godmother. So
and what year was Joe born?
Oh my Lord, you got me. Feed Poto. What year was that? 62? Wait.
He was 6.5 years older than me. So I was born in 68. So
62. Okay.
So Joe was born, and then Mom had a miscarriage before me and after me.
Right.
We would have been 7. But Joe, a lot of people don't know about that we had a brother, Joe.
Oh, cool.
So I just think it might be interesting to talk a little bit about Joe.
About Joe?
And
Yes.
what was he like? And, you know, when we lost him, how all that happened.
Well, Joe was like, of course,
His daddy's our only brother, the
our
only
only
son.
brother. He was born on my mother's birthday. And he was just the sweetest thing. You know, everybody says that about there, but he barely touched the floor at home. He didn't talk till he's almost 3, and so Mama brought him to the doctor. I probably except or you know, point and whatever. And she brought him to the doctor, and he said, "Well, when everybody stops getting everything he wants, he'll talk to you, and he'll be fine." Because there was nothing wrong or anything. But anyway, so, and then he, because he was in the 3rd grade, and when he got sick, we, well, he was just the greatest for us. Like, we really thought he was perfect. But he did little things like he played T-ball or so, whatever they played. I mean, he was only 8, so crying out loud, he didn't play major league ball, but he would always be happy for his friends. And his little friend, they did the swine festival, the little porky or whatever they would call it. What was it?
It was like a
little kids contest for the Mr. and Mrs. whatever.
Yeah.
And his little buddy, Fornera, won, and he was so happy for him. And he just never, he seemed to be a little kid that, like, it was okay. He didn't have to win, in other words. And he was happy for you if you won. Anyway, so we thought he was great. But what year he died? 71. Okay, in 70, oh my God, we had a car wreck. Mom and Dad. I went to meet Mom and Dad. He was playing. He was doing his show, his radio show. Joe was with him. Anyway, we all going back, and we get back on that road, that freaking 97. And I see my sister and her husband fly by us. Now, I don't know if they were really flying by us, but, you know, we didn't have cell phones. We couldn't just say, "Hey, what's going on?" And she was pregnant. And we thought, oh, maybe something happened. And I slowed the car down. Daddy was right behind me in a little Volkswagen, that little black Volkswagen. And he didn't see me slow down. He said I was eating some damn chips with Joe. You know, we just turned a corner, and he rammed into the back of that car. And I froze. I could see him coming, but I thought, he's going to stop. And I couldn't put my foot on the accelerator. And Joe got hit in the head. He had to have surgery to get all that glass and stuff out of his head and his eye. And I think right before Daddy died, we talked about it because we didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about it. And I said, "Dad, I'm so sorry about that night with Joe." And he said, "No, ma fille, c'était moi. It was me." And I said, "No, Daddy, it wasn't. We blamed ourselves for Joe's death forever." And anyway, so we went to the hospital. And he was going to have another surgery. They did surgery, and he was going to have another little surgery. And then I think there was stuff left, around the eye. They couldn't get that night, probably swelled blood, whatever it was. And we thought, oh, well, he's fine. Everything's going to be great. We're just going to go on about our business now. And so on January 31st, his little buddy, Eddie.
Or December, right? Was it New Year's Eve, December 31st?
What did I say?
January 31st.
Edit. Eddie's birthday was December 31st. And so they live next door to Mom and Dad. Now I talk next door. I'm talking about a field between them. And went over there for the birthday party. That was his buddy. And I don't know exactly how this, because I wasn't there. But somehow Mom came home, Dad played. I think Mama came home early. I'm not sure. If someone is out there in the family that knows, let me know. But Mom was home, and he called. Mr. Chester called Mama and said, he's not feeling good. I'm going to bring him home. And so he brought him home. And by 4 o'clock the next day, he was dead. And it was so horrible, shock to our family.
Thanks for sharing that, Neil, because actually I never heard a lot of that stuff that you're telling us about. I think one of the gifts that our family has is that we're very vulnerable and would talk, not scared to talk about things that were very painful. But this was something that nobody ever talked about in our family. And I never really knew the story of how Joe had died. I really didn't know. And when it is, everybody blames himself. And so nobody talked about it.
And Mama, I didn't know if she'd ever come back from that. That thing sat on Mama's lap every morning in the morning, He was young, he was not short, but not a tall child, And he loved Mom, and Mama loved him. It was her little boy. And then to think, Dad and I both, to think we killed our little boy. You know what I'm saying? Not killed him. You know what I'm saying? Like you go, oh God. Anyway.
And I think even Nanny and them, Roberta, they blamed them. She blamed herself because it was
her going to that. Yeah.
So it was just
and nobody
very
said anything.
Unfortunate.
And nobody
it was just
said
an
nothing.
accident.
It was an accident, and it was crazy, and I don't know. I'll never have the answer to that. But exactly that. But Dad and I both felt like. Well, I need to. Can I take a break? Ça sent bon.
Oh my goodness! Ça sent bon. It smells so good, huh, y'all?
Oh,
Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Oh my God, Vern, you outdid yourself. Oh my goodness. We are so honored to be sponsored today with the food of Mr. Vern Doucet and Two Cajun Cooks.
Hot dog.
We're having some shrimp etouffee. He's also we're just having a little sample right now, and he's also making a corn mock choux and some coleslaw. And I tell you what, it's amazing, huh, Neil?
Et puis écoute, c'est pas blâme, non, cette affaire. That's beautiful.
It is so good. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Amazing. So delicious.
I would
these
say
are some shrimp from the Gulf.
From the Gulf.
You got them in Delcom, right? You went.
Yeah.
There's Louisiana Gulf Coast shrimp.
Oh, I'm not going to say what Jean-Marc used to say. That he would laugh at us. C'est bon, shit.
Yes.
Cut that out. Yeah, he loved the way we would express ourselves, Jean-Marc.
Yeah.
And anyway, Another great benefit for us, getting to meet all kinds of different people. And Chalet Jean-Marc, it was so sweet. He gave me a headache though, because I knew French, but I didn't know, the French from La France.
And he spoke
And
fast.
he spoke fast. And I would be like, oh my gosh. So, but that was a benefit for us, was meeting all these people.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
je vais finir après
So
un temps.
good. Gosh, it's delicious. Oh, I can't wait.
Je savais pas que je voulais manger ici.
You didn't know you would be treated with that goodie to fame. Oh my God, it's good.
Rien qui reste. Arrête.
I know I didn't give mine back
I
till I
wanted
ate
to-
all them shrimp too.
I wanted to take them all. Merci, chat. C'est bon. Affreux.
So we are eating well for sure. So now we were talking about Joe and one of the things for me, and I'm sure you feel this way too, is that a gift of the music is that it's very healing, even just to listen to music that means something to you when you're going through life, because life throws you hard times. But that the gift of being able to write that song for Joe, La Madame. What was that like for you?
Oh, well, you don't know how it comes to be, but I wasn't in the habit of playing guitar. But because things were so different after Dad died, everybody kind of went their own direction and kind of licked their wounds for a bit. We needed that time because we had spent so much time with him in the hospital. Every one of us took turns taking care of him. We had to take care of him, And so I think everybody just went home and rested and putting their life together. I had just bought a house, a little frame house. They said, "C'est million." And then just this one day, it was just like there was a sound and a feeling mixed together that came out. Oh, pop, and it was so weird. I didn't call him Pop, but it fit. Oh, Pop, you talk to me every day. Listen to you telling me things about your life, right? How did you do that? You showed me how you did it, the song about his dad. Dad wrote a song about his dad. La mauvaise nouvelle, the bad news. Po, ça crève ta cœur. They didn't play it a lot, but that song had been there for a long time before he actually was able to record it. So it was
too painful.
It was too painful. It was too painful. So writing that song about Dad and and then the reference of his in those old songs, how his voice was young and tender, and then of course the next was the song about Joe. And I think what Pop Tune Jour gave me was, I think you can write a song. Because you just did. And so, you hear it, you feel this thing, then you hear a sound, and then you just have to sit down. And you have to put those things together. And you go, oh yeah, there it is. And I think, now I don't know music in theory and all those things. But I do know that there's the first verse and the second verse, there's something kinky or weird about, not kinky, but weird about it musically.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I know that, but because I've heard y'all say something, oh yeah, in the second verse, blah, 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 I don't know what it is. But it did, the first verse and the second verse ended with La Marraine. And I thought, I didn't even do that on purpose. But that's what I'm saying. It's all those feelings wrapped up in this little thing, and it like bursts like Jack in the Box. Bring! And then it's like, and then you have it your whole life to hear, like if you don't hear it for years and you hear it, it's still healing. It still has that poultice, that thing that just and says, yeah, my baby, you were here and we loved you and we still love you and we still love you.
It's an honoring of Joe's life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and then, and I put in Nous Espere as well. That's another one that I really, really like. And Two Step by Tina, of course. But Après Nous Espere is, and it seemed like I took all those things that I was feeling and all of that, and I put it in some of these songs, and then, it was such a release because you didn't know you had that. I didn't know I was in that much pain about it. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to dwell on that, and you don't want to, all those things, but then just to, I call that, pop that pimple of emotion and things that's been sitting there and festering for so long, to be able to do that. And without the music, I don't know if I'd ever done that, I have some songs about my little girls, but I never finished it. I don't know if I want to. And I think they already know. They already know how loved they are, Anyway. Yeah. So T, you, how did you experience the actual, was it a feeling, a sound, what preceded some of your songs that you know?
Well, much like you, I think there's certain things that happen in life, and I've always been a journaler. Ever since I was, I don't know, maybe 8 years old, I always would journal, and that was always my way to let things out and process things. Mm-hmm. It's like a prayer for me.
Because you couldn't say it out loud.
Right. Well, I could say it out loud after, but to even know what I wanted to say out loud, I have to journal. I still, even this morning, to prepare myself for this, to get in the right headspace, it's like...
I had to go to confession to come here today. Never got lost.
And so writing was a way to help me to do that. But then to put that into a song was something new for me. And it was, and I think because... I was just playing so much more music. Mm-hmm. It was just a natural next step for that.
Right.
Like with you, to say I can write a song. I can put this into music. Right. And and so still today I have little nuggets, like you were saying, you have nuggets that I, want to see into that fruition. But things just happen in life that spark that inspiration. Like this would be something that you'd want to write about or talk about and share.
Doing this podcast, for crying out loud, what an occasion for us to face each other for ever how long. Because today it's hit and miss. It's boom, boom, boom.
We all live so fast.
Everybody lives so fast. And, to hear stories I never heard about you. You to hear stories you never heard about me. For crying out loud. I'm 75. Shh, don't put that on there. I'm 75. And there's things that I'm just now kind of putting together and seeing. You never stop. It never stops evolving into who you're going to be and who you are,
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast is I think there are so many interesting people that I meet every day. that I want to learn more about. And so it was something that it's like, if I'm interested in that, maybe other people might want to hear these stories or these things. And this is something that I've been wanting to do for over 10 years now. And things just all lined up. One of the biggest things is finding out that this young man, Eric, did this, right? So I've been having this idea, and then I found some friends that said, oh, yeah, I started one. And I said, well, who got you to help you do that? And I said, oh, Eric, bro. I said, Eric? I know Eric. And so I reached out, and right away he's like, yes. And so for me, I feel like putting things out there is the only way you're going to know if it's meant to be. If you keep it inside, I could have reached out and it didn't happen. Well, okay, maybe it's not the time.
It's not the time.
But the fact that the reaction and everything sort of falling, it's like, okay, well, now's the time.
Okay.
You've been talking about for 10 years, rather than beat myself up, saying, why haven't you done it sooner? No, now's the time.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do it. And, there's so many interesting, cool people that I want to learn from and learn about. And so that's why I'd like to do this. I'm very interested in culture, obviously, but I'm equally as interested in creativity. And I find that places that have a very strong culture and traditions sometimes have some of the most creative people as well. So sometimes you think, oh, tradition and culture might be stifling because you have barometers or you have, certain things. But to me, it gives you a structure to be. And so I'm interested in that. And just talking to people about that.
Yeah. It's like having a river with no banks. Everything would spill out all over.
Right.
But those guardrails and those things, like, oh, that thing we saw yesterday in Basile. Oh, my God. I love that little city. I do. And the people there, and I know there are a lot of other cities around. And I think that's what's so interesting, because there's a lot of things in Basile. We don't like certain things. But overall, that culture of Basile, rain, Church Point, there's all those different things, that are so interesting. And how we blend things. It's like, I was thinking about my ma's beet and potato salad the other day, about how she would boil the beet. Now, if whoever hears this and they're going, but she don't know nothing, you're right. She would boil the potatoes in one thing, and she'd boil the beets in the other. And then she would fry some bacon, and she'd take some onions and saute the onions in there. And she'd add just a little bit of that beet stuff because it had a color to it. And she'd saute all that, and then she'd pour it over the beets and the potatoes. But they wouldn't get they weren't mashed like a regular, potato salad that we would do. They would stay kind of whole. And that purple and that potato, it was just beautiful. And it was kind of, I don't know, I'm thinking the bacon, because they fried the bacon and fried the onion, kind of Germanish. I don't know, but anyway, I don't know why. It's a kind of thing that was borrowed from another culture, but we ate it, and so we would call that Cajun, right? Because it was from Mama. But it's and that's the beauty of all of these cultures around here, and because we were so isolated here. That isolation that you had the boundaries, you had the roadblocks or the whatevers,
perimeters, like you said, kind of give you some.
And it's a security blanket. You could do whatever you wanted about it. You knew that everybody was there around you. They might have told on you, though. But it was for your own good. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, me and Elaine got in the ditch one time. And so later on, she finds out somebody had told Mr. Leo Brudd. I forgot his name, though, the guy that told that tattletailer. Had told Mr. Brudd we had got in the ditch by Jimmy's house. Oh, Lord. Oh, I'm telling Elaine and I a story. Stop it.
You know what I just remembered now? When you talk about isolation and, how we were so isolated
Yeah.
in our little area, I often steal this story of yours because I think it so exemplifies how our area, we think, we didn't say we were Cajun, we were French.
We were French, for sure.
And then there was Les Américains. Right? So
Mais
everybody
disait, oh, mais c'est un Américain, ça.
So everybody outside of our little area, because we Americans, but we knew we were different than others. But could you please tell the story about AM FM?
Well, let me tell you. So when I was 5, 6 years old, we don't have street lights in the country. We didn't have no doggone outside light either at Daddy's. That son of a gun didn't put it on till later. So it was dark as can be in the car. So all you saw, if you sat in the front seat with no seat belt, and you sat there and you looked at the dashboard. Well, on the radio, it's, you look at the radio dial, AM and FM. And I thought, I wonder, and I didn't dare ask because, keep your mind.
Were you?
I was probably, I don't know, 6 or 7. I don't know,
You were very young.
I was young. And so I'm looking at the AM and the FM, and I'm wondering what that means. And in my head, now, I didn't remember this. That's why I'm saying these podcasts are wonderful. These talks that you have to focus are wonderful. Because I didn't remember that until we were at Ashokan. What year was that? Who
Probably
knows?
93,
93 or
94.
94. And I looked at it and I thought to myself, what does that mean? So I decided in my little 8-year-old brain that it meant AM was American music and FM was French music. So I had figured it all out and I didn't need to ask nobody nothing. But that's how, we considered ourselves French.
Yes.
French. You went to the French dance. You talked French.
We're just like Ron and Faye's book,
Yes.
In those early 70s, it wasn't Cajun, Creole, whatever. We were French, and we were just all French
Musique
around
française.
here.
Yeah. And a lot more people spoke French, which is great. And I knew enough to know what they were saying and where. And if they did the little, I went in there and listened, yeah. Oh, yeah. Scroll for me. Scroll ça saoulé. T'as vu cette robe?
Yes. You knew when people were whispering, there was probably something you wanted to hear what they were talking about.
Or shut up, I like concert. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you do. But I wanted to know all that. I'd stick my little nose at the card table. Oh, yeah, that's another thing, too. Because everybody go play cards together, right? So you take an old quilt, you'd put it on the table because you didn't want nothing to slide because they polished that till you everything slid off the table. It was so clean. Anyway, so they put a quilt and they'd play Sit Back, which I still don't know if that's even whatever. Sit Back, Bourrée, je me rappelle plus. Oh.
I learned Casino with Mama.
And Casino. Oh,
Mama loved
shadow
Casino.
wept. And then they also played this like crazy game called Back Alley Bridge or something. It was kind of, you go back to one card a piece. Anyway, okay. So, but I would stand there and I was quiet. I was kind of a sickly child too, I think. But anyway, I would stand there just as quiet as could be. Because if somebody came in and messed up the thing, making a lot of noise, we all had to get out. So it was very quiet and listen to what they said. That's how I learned French. Most people do. So anyway, but when as I got older, I knew all the words. I knew most of the words, but I couldn't. I had to practice. And trying to put something in a phrase and stuff. I can remember Glenn wanted to learn French. He said, "I want to learn French." I said, "I don't know if I could tell you that." He says, "Well, tell me how you fix What do you do with those carrots? Je préparé des carottes. That was my first sentence where I put together. I was trying to teach him. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Yes. Now you know.
So I want to talk a little bit about, we were talking about visiting Basile yesterday, and I'm so glad it happened to you, because this could have easily been me. But as Nelda was leaving the gathering after the memorial, she got stuck. She got her van stuck in their yard. It was a low area, and it's so beautiful to see how the men. I describe it because I teach pre-K and K in first grade music. I described it when Shane went into the home and said, "Oh, we got somebody stuck." Those Basile men, it's like they were running out. They were in like my little kindergartners for recess. Like, oh boy, we get to go get somebody out the. They get to go get their chains, their 4-wheel drives, and to help somebody. It was just like, it was so beautiful to see that right now.
It was really beautiful. It just, even after all the hee-ho and didn't know if they were going to have to, exactly how they were going to do it, because the thing was stuck like to the bumper.
Yeah.
I had turned and tried it. When I heard the bumper start shaking, I said, I think I'm going to stop right now. But anyway, they took, one guy took his shirt off because people were at a memorial for their family. And so he takes his
dressed really nicely.
Yes, they were dressed nice, okay? And then the other one went get the truck, and they went to get the chain, and they got, oh Lordy, it was like, oh, I don't know. Okay, so somebody in their family or their town needs something, and they all go. C'était comme des petits guêpes when they left the house, man. They were all coming out. They were all coming to help.
Yes.
And it was just beautiful. It was just really sweet. I didn't have to worry. Right. I didn't worry.
I'm stuck. What am I going to do? You knew that you were in...
all the 4-wheel drives. And Brandon says he lives in Portland. Mm-hmm. He said, "Pull." He said, "Looky here, everybody's coming out here and they pulling it out. Nobody has to worry." He said, "In Portland, they'd go, who are we gonna call to get us out of this thing? You can't haul somebody out on in a Prius." Anyway, it was a funny moment, but yeah, it was just like I felt. I guess in a long time, felt like I was home.
Yeah, you would be taken care of if something happened. You're going to be taken care of.
Yes,
right. It was
It was really sweet. Mm-hmm. Really sweet to see all those.
And I think we come from a culture that if somebody is stuck on the side of the road, I never would be scared that I was stuck on the side of the road growing up, because I always knew somebody was going to stop and help me.
Absolutely.
I never was scared that, oh my God, who's going to stop, and maybe I need to be cautious.
Exactly.
And so that reminded me of that yesterday.
Sure, absolutely.
I think it's a beautiful thing. Just the history of like a boucherie,
yes.
or the history of like somebody needs something, people fundraising, people doing, these benefits. I mean, it's a community that helps each other. And I think that's something I'd like to stress. I know, but I want to finish what I'm saying. I can tell, but I don't want to lose this thought, because this is such a huge part of our culture that I don't want to lose the moment to talk about that. And I think all over the world it used to be more like that, and the fact that we still have that so strongly here is something that I want to honor, and I just want to celebrate, and I hope we never lose that.
Yeah, absolutely. And in
what was
part of that, oh Lordy. One time we missed the bus. Now, my grandpa drove the bus next door to us, okay? And my grandpa's theory was, you wait for the bus don't wait for you, okay? So, and he lived next door, so we would see his bus. He'd take it out the thing. We saw it coming. It was coming. It was the same time every day, the whole bit. Jack LeMan, one day, we running, the door's opening, we run into the bus. And he passes us up. And I did that a couple of times. Daddy'd say, "You either going to get on that bus." Because, see, that was father-in-law's bus. You can't get your kids to the road, you. So, okay. So he says, "Next time y'all going to walk to school." Now, we live 4.5 miles from the highway, the 190, right?
190, yeah.
We were like, "Oh, Lord." So we missed the bus. He'd say, "Start walking." We were like, "Oh, my God, what are you talking about?" We were crying, me and Bertie. We were like, "Why we have to do it? Oh, too long." I tell her, here comes Edna Redledge. She said, "Well, girls, what y'all doing?" "Daddy made us walk to school." "Oh, get in the car. I'm going to take y'all to school." So she takes us to school. Now, Daddy comes probably right after she picked us up. And he can't find us. So 4.5 miles down the road, he ain't seeing us. Goes into town, goes to school. Finds out we had checked in. We got home that afternoon. Pa and Mo. He never said, "Did y'all make it to school? How was it?" Nothing. So he just thought we walked to school. We never knew the real story until many years later.
That he had found out.
Yeah, y'all can walk. It didn't Edna called, Mama and the whole bit. But that's neighbors that picked us up. Today, oh, Lordy.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a Amber Alert or something like that. Really, seriously,
Yeah.
So anyway, but that was that whole family and stuff. Now, what else we wanted to say, baby?
Oh, yes. Just when y'all traveled to Newport.
In 67.
In 67, y'all had caravan. Everybody had caravan to go there. It was the big trip. Mm-hmm. And you had mentioned earlier, and I think it's a funny story about y'all meeting all these people. But just kind of tell us a little bit quick about that, and then talk about.
Yeah. So we caravan. Knockville, Mr. Hadley Fontenot, and his wife. I wish I could remember her name because she was so sweet. And then Daddy. Okay, so we caravan and we go. I don't know. I think it took us a week to get up there because we'd stop and we went to Washington D.C. All the way up. And we didn't go to the Statue of Liberty. We just looked at it. See, there it is. Look at it. So it was because it was too crazy. So anyway, so we get there. Newport compared to Basile, Chapiche. Okay, hills, all these beautiful homes. Okay, and then so we do the little concert. And my sister, Norm's there, Joe's there, and Bert is there. But me and Bert are closer in age than the other two. And so we kind of hang around together. We teenagers.
Like 17 and 15 years.
Teenagers.
I wasn't born yet because this was 67.
Right. So Berta, oh my God, she was so beautiful. She's just gorgeous. Y'all look at a picture. She was pretty. Anyway, so we play that day with Dad. And I want to also say, I didn't wear that stupid vest or that stupid tie.
They had an outfit. That they wanted y'all to wear.
I did not wear it. And the minute I got on that stage, I thought, who in the heck would have cared what you had on, you stupid little adolescent brat? I hurt Daddy's feelings. Anyway.
Well, you were 17.
Yeah, no, that was our job. So we off stage, some people come up to talk to us, right? Ooh, let's go see the little Cajuns, Anyway, so we talking, and they go, well, hey, would y'all like some pot? And we were like, no, I don't think so. So we walk away from them, and Bert and I are looking at each other, we're going, why do you want to give us some pots? Had no idea that we're talking isolation and
yes.
No idea what they were talking about. Even if they would have said marijuana, and, you know, anything else, it would have been no. Not that they offered us a beer, I might have, but I still didn't drink. You know, we didn't drink, and we didn't know all that stuff.
But in most of the United States in the late 60s and early 70s, that was prevalent.
Well, of course. And people go, "Oh, you grew up in the 60s?" Yeah, interpretate. Please. I grew up
with Hilda as your mama.
Hilda as your mama. Shut up, Peachy. Lord, my shy little mama. Can we talk about mama just a little bit?
Yes.
That little thing. She had some small feet, and we had wood floors and she was great until she was mad. And you could hear her little feet coming down that hallway. Pick back. Well, you knew what you would get after that. One time she threw she was making some biscuits, and Berta said something smart. Well, I'm sure she did. She threw a raw biscuit.
No, Mama was, from what I remember, I know she was such a her, if you want to say, her love language was acts of service.
Oh,
I would
absolutely.
say. But she wasn't a flatteur or,
oh Lord, no.
You know. But Daddy was more. That was his. You know, he.
Oh, yeah, flatté.
Yeah, and Mama would just.
Yeah.
She had a heart of gold. If you needed something before you could turn around, she was there doing it.
And the combination of those two was lovely, though. You know, because Mama would be like, no, Daddy. Oh, yeah. I remember I had a fever. Oh, so bad. Oh, I was sick with the measles or something like that. Okay, Daddy says, oh, we're going to give her a little. So they made me a toddy. I think that's when I fell in love with alcohol, actually. And, you know, I was so cold and freezing, and drank that, and it warmed you up. It made you feel better, shit. But then Dad came and laid on the side of me. He was like a heater. Okay, so warm alcohol, Daddy comforting you. And, I was like, oh, this is nice. Cut that one out. Cut that out. Yeah, we don't need to hear that. But it was so comforting. He was very comforting. Very comforting. And Mom and I, we didn't get along that well when I was growing up because I was that age, whatever, I don't know. But I remember I always knew, though, because you had boundaries, Mama, and I could go right next door to it. And but if she had enough, I remember when she was pregnant for you. Maybe I shouldn't tell this to people, but show you. She was pregnant with you. I'm 19. I know everything. And I said something to her, and I'm sure her hormones were running amok because she had a pregnancy before you that she lost. Then she gets pregnant right away. You know, and she was 38. Okay. So anyway, but I didn't know that. I was 18, 19. Still living at home, I wanted to tell you, too, because she wouldn't let me leave. But anyway, and I said something to her. That thing came across the table with a slap. Just slapped me. And then she was upset because she didn't really want to do that. But Roberta looks at me, she said, wait, how did she say? You better go apologize to her. And I said, man, she hit me. That's sass.
One thing I wanted to say just about Mom is like she had that acts of service, and she just like, but one thing she really, really, I remember her praying to have patience because she had such a temper, so she'd pray for patience.
Very quick. She'd say that. Oh, no, don't do that. I think I went to the other side of it, but she'd say, oh, no, don't do that. Her little rosary under her pill. Taught catechism. Yep. And I always had all them questions. Mom would say, nope, that's what the church says. You believe it. That's it. That's the truth. And I'd say, but why do we believe that, Mama? And she'd say, Now, I went to look it up, and I'd say, oh, that's where we got that. It helped me. But for her, it was like, that's what the church says. That's what you do. Shut.
All right. I'd like to thank my sister, Nelda, for being here today and helping me get this podcast started. And any last words you want to say now before we say bye?
Well, it was certainly a privilege to be able to do this. And I know you'll do really well. And I'm looking forward to hearing it. Hearing all the wonderful people that you got. This lady sitting right here, who is that?
That's Miss Cajun Cooks. Yes.
Cajun Cooks. She just, hey, Kay. We're having a good time here. And I know you'll enjoy it too. T, thanks.
Thank you, Nellie.
Love you, kiddo.
Love you too.